Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome to my channel. My name is Kylie if you're new, and today, I have my dad here with me again. His name is Matt.
I'm back!
If you're new, he's somewhat of a recurring guest on this channel. Oh, Merry Christmas, by the way. I hope you're having a good Christmas day. Wherever you are, however you choose to celebrate. We decided to get a little festive for today's video. He has on his Bahamas Christmas.
Tommy Bahamas.
Tommy Bahama, right. I have on my elf onesie. Comes with a hat, but it's too small for my head. I guess this was meant for children, but it seemed a little bit large to be a children's suit. Anyway, so as you probably saw by the title, today we're going to be talking about our top 10 Christmas movies. I typically talk about horror movies, but today we're going to branch out a little bit. I have a couple horror movies on my list, but we are just going to be talking about the regular, pop cultural Christmas movies today. Hi, excuse me. If I may just, excuse me. Thank you, hi. I'm sure you guys remember my 3 days of giveaways that I did. I'm giving away a bunch of DVDs and Blu-rays, and the winners have been announced. I announced it on my community tab, but in case people didn't see that, they are also listed down in the description below. Okay, thank you. I'll be leaving now. Thank you. Goodbye. We're gonna start at number 10 and work our way up to number 1, and then we both have a couple of, what are they called?
I forget the words. Movies that didn't make the list.
Movies that didn't make honorable mentions. Honorable mentions. Alright, so I guess let's just get right into it. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first. I've got some purposeful Regency bias, and my number 10 is a Netflix movie that came out in 2019, and it's called Klaus, and it's an animated movie that I just watched the other night, and I thought it was very well done. It was done by hand-drawn animation, so it was a different type of animation than you're usually used to. A little bit more artsy. And the basic gist of this movie is that there is a young man whose dad seems to run or own the post service. It looks like in Great Britain, and he's completely spoiled, and his dad kicks him out to this place out in the middle of nowhere in a little tiny island to be the postman there, and he gets there and it's a terrible place and everybody's sad and all they do is fight, and he goes through all of these challenges to try to be a real postman so he can get off of this island. And I'll be honest with you, if I hadn't been sitting with other family, I probably would have shut the movie off early in the movie because it was kind of negative and I didn't see where it was going, having anything to do with Christmas. But of course, eventually he goes out in the wilderness to deliver some mail and runs across this large man that has a big beard, and ends up, his name is Klaus. And there's a long story, but it ends up being a good story and a happy story at the end of it, and it's just a unique, different approach, kind of a worldwide approach to how Christmas and Santa might have come to people in different parts of the world, and it was a lot of fun in the end.
I actually haven't even heard of that one. When did you guys watch that?
A couple nights ago. It's a 2020 Netflix film. Okay. Hand-done animation.
My number 10 is one that we actually watched together a couple of nights ago as well, and that would be Krampus.
Oh no.
Yeah, did you end up liking that one? I didn't ask you what you thought.
Oh, I don't know. Well, I told you, at the beginning, if you hadn't been sitting there, I would have never lasted in the movie. But in the end, it did turn into a legitimate horror film with the Christmassy flair. So yeah, within the horror genre, yes, I liked it.
Okay, that makes sense. I liked it because I'm a sucker for dark comedies. It also kind of made some social commentary on the nightmare that is Christmas. It was a very accurate, very realistic portrayal of dealing with family on Christmas, which I appreciated because you don't typically ever see that in Christmas movies. They're always all cheery and, all the decorations are cute and everything is all nice. And it also stars Toni Collette and Adam Scott. I love them both dearly. That's a really good cast, actually. I like the entire cast of that movie as well. And the comedy worked for me. I don't know about you, but I thought it was a funny movie as well. And also, I remember in 2015 when I saw it in the theater, I was genuinely scared by it, but that wasn't the case this time. I just found it to be funny.
My number 9, Kylie, is Jingle Jangle, and this is another one that I just watched last night, and it is a 2020 Netflix film, and it stars Forrest Whitaker and Felicia Rashad.
And Keegan-Michael Key is in it,
Yes,
right?
he is in it as well. He's the other co-star. Ends up being a musical, and the music is great. The dancing is great. Those of us that were watching it agreed that the wardrobe's fantastic. It's a story that starts out really happy, gets really sad for a while, and then in the end becomes incredibly happy again. And it's just a very unique angle on Christmas again. Not the classic American Christmas type of movie, but I liked it a lot. I smiled a lot. There's a song that's played a couple times in the movie that's called Smile. I actually want to see if I can get that on my playlist because I need to do it more myself. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, if you follow me on Instagram, I did post about that we were watching it a couple of days ago, but I actually didn't last through the movie. I'm very particular with musicals. If you're not a musical kind of person, you probably wouldn't like this because it felt a lot more like a stage production, like theater, which there's nothing wrong with that, and a lot of people love musicals. So if you're a musical person, it was amazing. The talent in that movie is out of this world. I just didn't personally last through it. I didn't watch the whole movie with my family because I wasn't really super grabbed by it. I'm just not really a musical person. I think the only musicals that I really truly enjoyed were Mamma Mia and The Greatest Showman. Yep, The Greatest Showman. So my number 9 will probably make a lot of my subscribers happy because this is a horror channel. My number 9 is Gremlins, which is one that you actually haven't seen.
No.
It's just a really, really fun movie. I think Gizmo is so super cute. It's funny as well. I would consider it to be a dark comedy. I loved it. I've loved that movie ever since I was little because I don't think I ever really found it super scary or anything. I just always thought it was such a whimsical and fun movie. I want to move on to number 8.
My number 8 is the Grinch franchise. I told Kylie ahead of time that I looked at the Grinches and I thought, do I want to try to pick one over the other? And I really couldn't. And there was the 1967, there was How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the first one. It was animated and it was narrated by Boris Karloff, who was famous from the horror genre. And then the next one was the Grinch from 2018, the Universal Pictures, which was also animated. And then How the Grinch Stole Christmas with Jim Carrey in 2000. And I like all three of them. I like the franchise. Very rewatchable to me to this day. I like all three of them. So
I will make commentary on that in a little bit because the Grinch movies are actually a little bit higher on my list. So I'm just going to go ahead with my number 8. My number 8 is The Santa Claus. With every rewatch, I think you start to realize how goofy that movie is, how questionable a lot of the humor is, how questionable a lot of the plot lines are. It involves some kidnapping. It involves some kind of inappropriate, not child-friendly jokes about the toys that they're selling and things like that. So upon rewatch, I still think it's really fun. I think a lot of the humor still holds up, and then some of the stuff that wasn't intended to really be funny is just kind of cringy, and now upon rewatch, almost 30 years later. That came out in 94, I think. But growing up, I was obsessed with that movie. I watched it every single year. We had it on VHS, I think, and I loved it. And the way that they depicted the North Pole, growing up, that was my favorite version of the North Pole that I ever saw in any movie or TV show. I just thought it was amazing. I always wanted to try Judy's hot chocolate in that really cute big old mug.
yes.
That movie just always gave me the best Christmas vibes.
And the Santa Claus is number 5 on my list, so I'll get that out of the way.
Okay.
And I understand what you're saying. In 2020, where we're more enlightened, there are some crunchy, using your word, but I have to admit, watching it again, I still like it. I'll be able to watch it every year or two and laugh at a lot of things in this movie.
Wait, did you say crunchy?
Yeah.
I said
What did you say?
cringy.
Cringy. Well, crunchy, cringy. There's just some things that in 2020 that they say in the boardroom and just a few things like that they wouldn't necessarily put in a movie today, but it's really not too bad, and I still really enjoyed it.
Yeah, especially not in a kid's movie. I think the humor is still relatively fine. Nothing that's not PC, I would say, or anything like that. It's just stuff that you think, oh, they put that in a kid's movie, that's interesting. But you say cringy because it makes you cringe. You go, ooh, I cringe. But I guess crunchy also kind of works because your face crunches.
Yeah, I use the word crunchy for certain things that can be uncomfortable at times. Yeah. If you didn't watch it growing up in your teens or 20s, maybe you would just think it was not that great. But if you did watch it, she's been watching it forever, so have I. It's just one of the Christmas rewatchables that I enjoy.
Mm-hmm. I think one thing that makes it so rewatchable, the humor still stands up, even though we watch it basically every single year.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, maybe every other year, but we've watched it every year for the past couple of years now, and I think it's just because there are just some things that happen in that movie that are so iconic. The characters are really strong. Neil with his sweatshirts, I mean, that's just everywhere. There's just little things like that to pick out.
Neil with his sweaters.
Sweaters,
it's his sweaters,
not sweatshirts.
Yeah, he's just great as the psychiatrist. You just don't want to like him. The tension that's created, and then the end being that he really becomes Santa Claus. I just kind of feel like rooting for the
Yeah.
good guy, and it's a very fun fantasy story.
Yeah, it's very whimsical, as are a lot of Christmas movies. Okay, so time to move on to number 7.
White Christmas.
A good one.
1954, Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye, a couple of famous women actresses from that time period. White Christmas is the title of the movie, and oddly enough, trivia on that one is that White Christmas was originally used in another movie that Bing Crosby starred in with Fred Astaire, actually. It's called Holiday Inn, and that was from 1942. So
Wow.
12 years later, they used it as, they changed the music a little bit, but the basic gist of the movie is that there's 2 gals and 2 guys. They have plans to do some concerts, and they end up going up to Vermont. A guy that had been the commander for Danny Kaye or Bing Crosby, I don't remember, in World War II. He owns the inn up there, and they don't have any snow, and nobody's showing up, and they end up doing this giant talent show, and it turns into this fantastic thing. Great music from the 40s and 50s. It's a classic, rewatchable. If you're somebody like me, as a baby boomer, I've been watching that movie every few Christmases for most of my life.
I haven't seen that movie in a couple of years, but there were a couple of years where we were watching that every single year. That is actually another musical that I do like. That's one that I forgot about, but I really like that movie. It's definitely just, it's a feel-good movie if you're into drama and costuming. If you're into costuming, this is an amazing, gorgeous movie.
Yeah.
A lot of talent, a lot of great dancing numbers. Just, it's a classic, yeah.
It is a classic.
That's a good one. My number 7 is Home Alone, and I was gonna include Home Alone 2 and kind of just say the Home Alone franchise, but I actually have never seen Home Alone 3, and I feel like I am a very rare case where I like the first one more than the second one. And most people love Home Alone 2 Lost in New York because it just ups the slapstick by so much. There was just so much that happened in Home Alone 2 that to me personally was a bit of a deal breaker because so much of the stuff that happened to those guys would have killed them 10 times over. So at that point it wasn't really slapstick anymore. I know I'm the exception. I know most people love the second one a lot more than the first one, but the first one lives on this list alone. I didn't actually include Home Alone 2 on this list. You watched Home Alone with us, right?
No, I did not.
Oh, you didn't? Oh. Yeah, you're not really a slapstick
I'm not a
guy.
big slapstick comedy
Yeah.
person, so.
I think maybe you would, because it's this kid and he's really funny and he uses all these really great tricks. I think you would have found it clever. This is the one case where I think you might like slapstick.
All right, next year I'll watch it.
Okay. Okay, moving on to number 6.
Number 6 is Christmas Chronicles for me.
Yes.
And that was for 2018. They did a new one this year, Christmas Chronicles 2. As I did with Grinch, I'm going to put both of them together because I like both of them a lot. Kurt Russell is the main star as Santa Claus, and the first movie starts out where this young girl, and she talks her brother into seeing if they can stay up all night to see if they can catch Santa. Not a brand new concept.
Yeah.
But the places they go in this movie, particularly in the first one, including Santa going into jail and then doing an Elvis impression while he's in jail with
Yes.
a full-piece band that he puts together in the jail cell and driving around in fast cars, and it's just a lot of fun, and Kurt Russell is great in this part. I cannot remember if Goldie Hawn played his wife in the first one, but in Chronicles 2 that we just watched the other night from 2020, she plays his wife, and they've been together, although not married, for over 40 years, and they were both stars when they were young, and they've been together all these years, so they're a natural as Mr. and Mrs. Claus. Mm-hmm. It's another one where the North Pole is just this really cool place that at 61 I still would love to go there. The North Pole and the workshops they do in some of these movies really make you want to go there. They just look fantastic.
Yeah, so the Christmas Chronicles is actually my number 6 as well, so that's really funny. I want to say that I'm probably not going to include the second one as a lump together on this list just because the second one was a little bit of a disappointment to me. It's still going to be rewatchable. I'm still going to watch it with the first one. It just, I felt like they kind of doubled down on the cheesier parts from the first one.
Yeah.
In the second one, it was a little bit of a letdown, so if you haven't seen that one yet, but you liked the first one, just manage your expectations a little bit. It's still a lot of fun though, and it was really good. My biggest complaint, I think, is that Judah Lewis was a main character. In the first movie, he plays the older brother, and in the second one, he's gone for majority of the movie. He was not a major character, and I'm a fan of him. I wish that they had focused on his character a little bit more, but it was fine. Maybe he was just a little bit too grown up at that point to be taking part in all the whimsical North Pole adventures or something, I don't know. But yeah, we actually have the same number 6, so we can just probably move on to our number 5 now.
And my number 5, as we mentioned, was the Santa Claus. So I'm just going to put in one of my honorable mentions, Polar Express. Didn't make my list, but I really liked it.
Polar Express is one of my honorable mentions, although I remember for some reason when I was a little kid, I remember that movie being really scary to me. I don't know, I think it's probably because of there's like a train accident in it. Tom Hanks plays all these strange
Different characters,
which is fun. Watching it as an adult, it's fun because, oh, there's Tom Hanks. But when I was little, some of the characters he played were just a little bit frightening to me for whatever reason. I think this came out in 2005 or something.
I will tell you, 2004.
2004. It's still a great story though. I think the story is really well done. My number 5 though, however, is called Just Friends. This one is a little bit more obscure. I feel like it's kind of an underrated comedy. I didn't realize it was considered a Christmas comedy, but it is. It stars Ryan Reynolds and he is sort of a city boy, but he comes back to his hometown and he finds this girl that he used to be best friends with. It's a rom-com. A lot of the comedy is also kind of slapsticky, a little bit over the top. It's a very fun somewhat of a Christmas movie. But I know you haven't seen that, and
no, I have not.
Probably don't have much to build. I think it's on Netflix if you want to watch it. It's called Just Friends. But anyways, we can move on to our number 4s.
My number 4 is Elf. I bet it'll be higher on Kylie's list than number 4. That's my guess. This is one that the family watches every year, ever since it came out, and that's one of the only ones I didn't write what year it was. But anyway, starring Will Ferrell, James Caan, Bob Newhart, Ed Asner, a lot of older stars that are from my generation. That's a movie that I can watch every Christmas. Never been a big Will Ferrell fan, and it took a while for the kids to get me to actually watch this movie. And ever since then, I am all in to watch it every single Christmas. I can't help but giggle throughout the entire movie. The premise is fantastic.
Yeah, this is one that we do not miss out on every year. Every single year we watch this movie. And also, you forgot to mention, Zooey Deschanel also stars in this movie, and she plays this super bubbly, fun person in New Girl. She plays almost the opposite kind of character in Elf, but you know, kind of part of her story in that movie is him getting her to warm up and love Christmas again and stuff like that. Yeah, that's one we never miss. My number 4 is The Grinch from 2003. This is the one with Jim Carrey. This particular one with Jim Carrey, this one and The Santa Claus were the 2 movies that I watched every single year as a child. I was obsessed with this movie. I was obsessed with Cindy Lou Who, with Jim Carrey's performance. I was a big Jim Carrey fan when I was little. I just think that he brings such a crazy, weird energy to this role. I think it's so much fun. And while this one might lack some of the heart, some of the emotion that the other Grinch movies have, the comedy still holds up. I still laugh at those same jokes every single year, despite knowing that they're coming. And especially because of this world that they created, this little town of Whoville that's in this snowflake. It is, again, so whimsical. It's a place that I love to transport myself every single year.
I can't imagine anybody else but Jim Carrey playing that part. I've watched it many times with you kids over the years, and I still can watch it year after year.
Yep, doesn't matter how old you are. It's one of those movies, it's timeless. All right, on to number 3.
My number 3, Kylie, is Miracle on 34th Street. That movie is from 1947. It was remade again in 1994 with Denzel Washington and Whitney Houston, as a matter of fact. And I don't think I've ever seen that, and I may try to get everybody to watch that one over the Christmas time period. Kris Kringle is the star of this, and his name's Edward Gwynn. He's watching the Macy's Day Parade and somehow sees the Santa in Macy's Day Parade is drunk, and he gets very angry about it, and he goes to Macy's and complains. They end up making him the Macy's Santa Claus. This is a classic, just like White Christmas is, as a rewatchable for any of us baby boomers out there, but I think all generations would enjoy this movie. If you haven't seen it, I think you could really enjoy it. I don't know if you remember it at all, but...
No, I don't think I've actually ever seen this movie all the way through before. I feel like you probably tried to show this movie to me when I was a little bit younger, and I probably got bored, I'm not gonna lie. I have not tried to watch it since. I also had no idea that they remade it with Denzel Washington.
I mixed that up. They did not remake that movie. The movie that they did remake, that I'm also gonna pull off of my list of movies that didn't make my list.
Honorable mentions.
Yeah, honorable mentions is a movie called The Bishop's Wife. That particular movie is from 1947. It's a romantic comedy with Cary Grant, Loretta Young, and David Niven. An angel takes care of this bishop. That's the one they made a remake that I want to watch, that had Denzel Washington and Whitney Houston from 1994. But I do highly recommend Miracle on 34th Street for any of you that in the younger generation haven't seen it yet. I think you'll get a kick out of it.
All right, thank you for the clarification. So that was your number 3, right? My number 3 is actually The Grinch from 2018, and it's wild for me to be saying this because, as I mentioned, I was obsessed with The Grinch with Jim Carrey when I was younger. We still watch that every single year. This new Grinch movie, however, I just think as a movie, was damn near flawless. I say this because I think that they treated the Grinch story with so much care, and this time the Grinch wasn't exactly any form of an antagonist. The story focused a lot more on his emotional issues, on his... He was such a well-rounded character, and he had social anxiety. The way that they kind of depicted it with their animation style and stuff, I thought it was so well done. I found the Grinch to be super relatable. I found the Cindy Lou Who character to just be so sweet, and throughout the movie she is trying to help out her mom, who is just overwhelmed and taking care of all these kids, and just really great strong characters in that movie. And the animation style is also gorgeous. It looks almost real? I don't know. When I was watching it in the theater, it was so crisp, and it opens on this shot of these birds flying through this landscape and stuff, and it's beautiful. It's wonderfully animated. And I really think that they did the Grinch story justice. I think it's honestly the best Grinch movie, which just, again, I have so much love for the Jim Carrey Grinch, but this movie was just, it was that good. It was that good, which we have not watched yet, so maybe we can watch that today.
This one maybe we watch tonight or tomorrow night.
All right, we can move on to number 2.
My number 2 is Charlie Brown's Christmas. It came out in 1965. It was a television special, which would now be a streaming movie in today's world, most likely. The thing that was unique about it was that the voices are actually children. They did not hire professional actors and actresses to do this movie like we do in animated films today. They actually just used regular kids to do the voices in the movie. And the other thing that was unique about it is they used this jazz score, which is very well known and everybody recognizes, I think, from any generation, but it's by a pianist named Vince Guaraldi. It's a timeless soundtrack to this movie.
That's one that I think I've seen when I was younger. It's been a very long time since I've seen that. All the Charlie Brown stories are really sweet too. I remember loving their Halloween special, Charlie Brown and the Great Pumpkin or something.
Yep, that's right.
My number 2 is actually, I just wrote down Harry Potter. I did not specify which one. But I
knew that was a choice.
I think it's probably just a tie between the first and second Harry Potter movie. Those are excellent holiday movies. They feature Christmas in almost every single Harry Potter movie. Maybe not in the last 2, but I think in almost every single Harry Potter movie they feature Christmas. All of those movies just feel like home to me. They're just comfort movies. Great to watch around the holidays, whether it's Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. They're just amazing movies. I think I'm gonna go ahead and say that the first one is the one that I have listed as my number 2, the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Because I think that is the most cheery Harry Potter movie out of all of them, I would say. They start to progressively get darker as they go on, as he grows up and deals with more things. Which also, by the way, stay tuned for my Harry Potter series that is starting in January. But yeah, do you have anything to say about Harry Potter and Christmas?
Well, those scenes of Christmas during the Harry Potter movies are fantastic. They're comparable, I would say, to the North Pole scenes that we've talked about in a couple of the movies here. The food, the music, and all of the magic that goes around Christmas.
Happy Christmas, Harry.
Yes.
Happy Christmas, Ron. Sorry, okay. I'm done. Okay, our number 1. Wow. Here we go.
Number 1 is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. This to me is just an all-time classic. This came out in 1964 and it was called Stop Motion Animagic. And if you've seen it, which most of you probably have, but a lot of younger ones maybe not have seen it, and I think you might get a kick out of seeing it. It's narrated by a famous actor called Burl Ives. He's the snowman who narrates the entire thing. One of the things I was thinking about today, and I've been learning from studying movies more because of Kylie and to be on her YouTube channel and to think about things differently, is this Rudolph movie was very much a message movie. And it was about people that were different. Rudolph had the red nose. They're trying to hide it, and his dad, so he goes and leaves, and one of the elves wants to be a dentist. And I mean, what kind of elf is a dentist? So then he splits because he doesn't feel like he's part of the group. And then they find this Yukon Sam, and he's out trying to find jewels and gold and silver, actually.
Silver and gold.
And he also is an outcast. And then they go to the Island of Misfit Toys, and I really realized today that it's a story about everybody has a lot of sameness, and it's not just about differences of everybody. Anyway, this was the classic rewatchable from my time period of baby boomers, and most any baby boomer would say. And this was the first one, not a regular live action movie. I talked about White Christmas, Bishop's Wife, Miracle on 34th Street, and there are many, many other movies like that. But this one was the first one that I'm aware of, and it was cutting edge, and people were very interested. And every year it would come on Sunday night. I've seen this movie probably 3/4 of the Christmases of my life. So a lot of good memories, and it's a good message.
Yeah, that's a great movie. That was one of my honorable mentions. Actually, it didn't quite make my list, but that is also one that I watched every single year. The Grinch, the Santa Claus. Anyways, I'm gonna move on to my number one. My number one is Elf. I don't know if that was obvious or not, but my number one is Elf. Kind of surprising myself that I've put it above some of these other movies, but all of these movies on our top 10 lists are just amazing. They're all great Christmas movies. I don't know what it is about it, because typically with a lot of comedy movies, I don't find them to be super rewatchable, because when you already know the jokes, they don't typically hit as hard. It's not the case for this movie. I don't know what it is, but this movie is just funny every single time. There aren't a ton of Will Ferrell movies that I love, but this is one of them. I think this is probably his best performance. This is certainly my favorite movie of his. Also kind of an unlikely movie for James Caan to star in. I love that he's in this movie. That one also just has your kind of typical message about Christmas and where the magic really comes from and everything.
It could easily be my number one movie, but I have more movies to include because I'm older than Kylie, so I would say I'm not big on comedies, which she knows. It's the only Will Ferrell movie that I've ever seen. Most people say, wow, that's hard to believe, but it's true. I don't normally like comedies, but I think he's just fantastic in this movie. I can watch it every Christmas and I still laugh, and that's what it's all about. And I have a good feeling inside, because of the message by the end of the movie. So I don't blame you for picking his number one. It's a great one.
Yeah, I think this is also another movie that it doesn't really matter how old you are. There's little different types of comedy for everybody. There's some slapstick, there's a little bit of adult comedy. It's also kind of a rom-com. It's also somewhat of a family drama. There's good themes about family and stuff like that. There's just a lot to be gained from this movie. It was also done by Jon Favreau, who has just proven to us as of late that he is an amazing writer. I'm pretty much a fan of almost everything that he does. Oh, and he also has a cameo in this movie. He plays the doctor, and that scene with the cotton balls, fantastic. Remember that one?
I can't help but laugh.
We usually save that one to watch on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. That's one of our family's most special favorite movies. Okay, so now it's time for the rest of our honorable mentions. We've already kind of mentioned a few of them.
Yeah, I've mentioned a couple of mine. I'll just mention two more. One is Frosty the Snowman, which was animated from 1969. Jimmy Durant, another famous old actor, was the main voice in this movie as Frosty. Or maybe he was actually the background announcer, like Burl Ives was in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. But this was just a classic movie for kids. Who doesn't love Frosty the Snowman? And then the one other movie that I'll say is the one I mentioned earlier is the Holiday Inn movie from 1942, which originally had White Christmas in it, and that one was Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire, two of the greatest singer and dancers you could ever come across, with a couple of female counterparts. And that's another just fun, good old-fashioned movie that you feel good after it's over.
I don't think I've actually seen either of those. So I guess I'll just list off two of my honorable mentions. Actually, no, I kind of have three. Love Actually is one that I remember really liking, but it's been several years since I've seen it, so I don't know, but I think that's an honorable mention. Oh, and then I also said that White Christmas was one of my honorable mentions, so I guess I only have one more to talk about. This one is a little bit unlikely. So it's actually an Ice Age Christmas special. I think it's called...
Wow.
I think it's called A Mammoth Christmas or something. It's a short film. It's only about 25 minutes long, I think, but it's just fantastic. I am such a big fan of the Ice Age movies. I think I've loved those ever since I was a little kid. There's 5 of them now, and also this Christmas special. I just love the characters so much. I identify with all of them, with Manny, with Diego, with Sid. They're all just outcasts in their own little weird little herd. And this movie kind of explains the origins of Christmas, because this takes place however long ago it was, when woolly mammoths and saber-toothed tigers were roaming the earth. It takes place back then. So it's kind of that style of an origin story of Christmas. It's fantastic. It's really good. I'm not totally sure where you can find that. I know that they sell that on DVD at places like Target and stuff like that. I got mine because I have a 4-pack of the first 4 Ice Age movies, and it also has the Christmas special in there. I also have the 5th movie, but it's not part of the pack. I do pride myself on my Ice Age collection. It's not amazing. It's a short film, and I think it's a lot of fun, especially if you like the Ice Age movies, because a lot of people don't know that A Mammoth Christmas even exists. So if you didn't, you're welcome. I think that does it though for our top 10 lists for our honorable mentions.
I'm still surprised by your last choice there.
By Elf?
No, by your last choice.
Oh, by my honorable mention.
Your honorable mention. That one's one I would have never found or never picked.
Yeah, that one, I think the first
But now I
time-
want to watch it. Do we have it here?
We don't have it here, unfortunately.
Oh, darn it.
I know. I left that in SoCal. I know. I watched it with Mason. I watched it with my
I
boyfriend.
have to bring it next Christmas.
I will. I definitely will. Yeah, that one's also super rewatchable because it's so short. It's easy. It's an easy watch. Also, to the giveaway winners, congrats. I hope that you guys all enjoy your new movies. I will get those sent out when I am back home in Southern California, so probably not for another week or so. But hopefully you'll be getting those before the new year. Thank you everybody also for entering. I hope that I can do another giveaway in the near future. I also hope that you guys have an amazing Christmas today, or if you're celebrating Hanukkah or whatever you guys are celebrating, just happy holidays. I hope you have a good day today.
No, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and like Kylie said, any holiday that you want to celebrate or as part of your culture, we're getting together in small groups, and I think this is a year that we should really appreciate the small things, which I do, including filming this and being here with you guys.
But yeah, that does it from us. All my social media will be linked down below. My vlog channel will be linked down below. Oh, a couple of weeks ago, he was on my vlog channel. That was actually the last video that I posted. We did a little DVD collection haul because we went shopping on Black Friday for new movies. If you're new, I hope that you subscribe. Right now I'm doing Vlogmas, but I usually post 3 days a week, so you get some pretty consistent content from me. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope I catch you in the next one. Bye! Oh God.
I like to do that. I've done it every time.
Okay, what
Film
if we...
another ending. What do you want me to do?
What if we both say bye? We go bye!
Okay.
Okay. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope I catch you in the next one. Bye!
Bye!
That's fine.